The taste of Texas is spreading across North Carolina as brisket, sausage, and other Lone Star favorites are shouldering their way into barbecue menus that was once reserved for pulled pork, coleslaw, and cornbread. John G's Barbecue is responsible for a lot of that Texas tradition, traveling into small town North Carolina and places like Peachland. And today we're talking with the man and the woman behind John G's, Garren Kirkman, and his wife Kelly. Garren, Kelly, welcome back to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Hello, hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you today. And I know you've got a big event that's going to be coming up with John G's very soon. So that's where I want to get started. So, what is John G's Jubilee and how did it get started? And why are you guys doing that?
So, yeah, Jubilee, its origins can be traced back to an event we did for St. Patrick's Day with NC Oyster, Lawrence Barbecue. I guess, what was it, just last year?
Mhm.
Yeah, last St. Patrick's Day. But anyway, we were just all hanging out, having a good time, and just so happened I was turning a big milestone of 40 last year as well.
Oh boy.
And we're always looking for a good reason to hang out, have some fun, cook some food. So yeah, it kind of got pulled together. I shouldn't say easily, but a lot of hard work on Kelly's part. But she made it happen, and the best part about it all is get to raise a little money for our charity here in Anson County.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Jubilee helps raise money for Anson County Partnership for Children. There are a lot of things that they do within our community. One of the things we were able to give them last year was with the donations from our ticket sales, and we were able to donate, I think it was 77 pallets of diapers and wipes to families in need in Anson County. They also provide literacy programs for children. Their mission statement is basically to help kids achieve everything to the best of their ability with all of the resources that they can provide through that partnership. So we're happy to continue to work with them this year for the Jubilee.
Yeah, fantastic. A great cause and excited to hear you guys supporting that. So give me the specifics about it. When is it? Where is it? And who all is involved? Can I still get tickets?
So it is June 22nd. It's actually held after Barbecue Saturday. So it's from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. There are about 30 tickets left, so there's not that many.
Okay.
So who's involved this year? It's obviously us at John G's, and then our friends at Lawrence Barbecue. NC Oyster is coming back, and then Brown Creek Creamery provides homemade ice cream for us. They're a local creamery here in Anson County. And then Noda Brewing is actually going to be out slinging some adult fizzy sodas. So
Wow,
happy to have
fantastic.
everybody on board.
Yeah, an exciting event. So how are you guys going to pull that off from going from a big barbecue Saturday, which I know is a huge event, we'll talk more in just a few minutes, and then go right into another really big event?
I'd say it's not too big of a change up for us because, I mean, some days we finish up a barbecue Saturday and we go cater massive weddings.
Yep.
So yeah, plus having a little help from our friends
Yeah.
at Lawrence Barbecue and NC Oyster and all that, that's going to help out a lot. But yeah, nothing too crazy outside the norm.
Yeah, just make a little
It's kinda
extra
flips.
food. Yeah.
That's it. That's always the case.
Well, so let's get back to the beginning and talk a little bit about the roots. And I know we had you on the show back during the Carolina Barbecue Festival of 2023, but remind everybody, where are you guys from and how did you get into smoking meat low and slow?
Wow. Man, our roots kind of go back. My first backyard experience was probably in I think it was 2011 was my first brisket ever. And that stemmed from a bite of brisket I had in 2009 that just blew my mind. I mean, I grew up North Carolina, whole hog, family reunion, pig picking, chicken, fire department fundraiser, you name it. I mean, North Carolina's very barbecue,
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, first bite of brisket just blew my mind. It's hard to find brisket in North Carolina.
Mhm.
So I sat
It
around.
was then.
Yeah, it was then. A lot easier now. But yeah, I stumbled upon that. It's like, man, I just got to make this myself. Like, I like the challenge of it. Everybody's like, oh, you're going to start with brisket. I mean, guys will smoke hundreds of butts before they'll even attempt a brisket just because of the money
Mhm.
involved and the time. And it's just mind blowing for most people. So anyway, went out and bought the old char griller, 2011. Bought a reduced price brisket because it was expired. But looking back now, it's wet aged. I'm going to go with wet aged. So yeah, ruined it. Of course, history is made, but I wanted to do better, so I just kept plugging around with it, and finally did our first public pop up at Southern Range Brewing in Monroe in 2016.
Yeah. So how do you get the motivation from going from a backyard ruiner of briskets into turning that into a business, especially since I know you had another career that you had going on?
Yeah. I was working full time in healthcare, nuclear medicine technologist, radiology manager. But I don't know, man. Once I get my mind made up, like I just can't let it go.
That's true.
I own a lot of things, but brisket definitely has stuck around more than anything else. And yeah, I still can't let it go.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about, not a lot of brisket you're able to find at the time around the Carolinas, and definitely it's really kind of sweeping and become more commonplace. But, you guys really kind of have a Texas approach to things and getting a lot of recognition as Texas barbecue. Why the Texas tradition for you guys?
Man, I hesitated on even putting Texas associated, but I feel like I kind of owe it to people. Like if they pull up, they see the place, they're thinking they're going to get regular barbecue. So I feel like before they stand in line, if they didn't look at social media or anything, like they would have an idea. Like I'm not going to get chopped barbecue here. At one point you could, but yeah, just kind of puts it out there. Like, hey, this is more brisket driven barbecue joint than your typical North Carolina barbecue joint.
Well, and it's not just the brisket too. It's a little bit about the serving process and the tradition of stepping up to the line and asking each folks. How big of a role does that play in what y'all's business is doing? That service line tradition.
Yeah. I mean, service is everything. From the time people show up at John G's in the morning on a Saturday to the time they walk out. And I know you've been out before, so you can kind of speak to that too, but it's a full experience from morning until after you eat lunch. And so a lot of that is our staffing and our responsibility to create that experience for everybody that's coming out to visit us. Usually me or another girl are out taking protein orders to make sure we're going to have enough meat for everybody. And then once they're inside of that market line, we want everybody to feel like it's their time to shine, because it is. You've waited all this time and it's really special. And we don't want you to feel rushed. We want you to feel like family. A lot of people are not comfortable ordering that way. So it's our responsibility to make them feel comfortable and welcome into our establishment. So hopefully we're doing that.
Yeah, you build a little bit of a rapport with them as they step up to the line too, and that's definitely a cool experience. And hey, again, as you said, I've been there. It's really cool to see you guys serving it up and preparing it, and again slicing it and weighing it out and everything else. And I'll tell you what, you got some expert people that know the weight to slice and serve it up there. How long have your team been with you?
Most of our people right now have been with us for a while. Connie, I think she was on the slicing board that day for y'all. She's been with us about 3 years. Daniel's been with us a couple Years. And then we do have some newer people on the side, but then Maddie at the register, she's been with us for 2.5 years, I think almost 3. And then the restaurant world, that's a long time. And we've only been open since 2020. So I'm proud to say that, we try to keep our employees happy and we're tickled to have them. So
yeah, fantastic. And they do a great job. So hey, kind of going back to before you guys opened up in 2020, you mentioned, Garren, that you guys started with that first pop-up in Monroe, and I guess things kind of evolved from there. At what point did you know you wanted to go from being in a pop-up and a food truck scenario into getting into that brick and mortar investment?
Man, I still don't know. And I mean, it was almost a necessity. I mean, we did the pop-up temporary food establishments, got the extra commissary space to run the food trailer. Ultimately, just needed more room. And at that point, we were still just going to be a food truck, pop-up catering kind of person or business. But COVID popped in there and changed our plan a little bit. Well, I keep saying
Well,
plan, but we really didn't have a plan.
yeah, like we signed papers on our building in February of 2020. So we literally watched COVID unfold on the news, and North Carolina shut down.
Yeah.
And like he said, we never planned to open it as a restaurant. We were happy being a caterer and a food truck in Charlotte. And life changed. And so we had to change with it. And like you said, there really was no plan. We just sent some prayers up and decided to do some pre-orders from our food trailer to see if people would be willing to drive out to the middle of nowhere. And luckily they were. And so that kind of was where Barbecue Saturday was born.
Still here to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about being in the middle of nowhere. So tell me a little bit about that building, and how did you get to be in Peachland in that particular location?
Yeah, so we only live like 12 minutes away. But I think I had taken a random picture of this building in 2016, like before our first pop-up ever. I don't know why. It's on my camera reel, like still no clue.
I don't know. Like we
Yeah.
did go and eat there. It was a barbecue restaurant then, and I do remember eating there.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of I don't know. It used to be. You can talk about
Yeah,
that history.
well, I think the earliest restaurant in that building was a place called Bosco's, and they were known for their burgers. I've even heard tales of having frog legs, and there's been 100 different renditions to this building. You can just see all the past history and where what used to be. And yeah, I think then Barbie's bought it. I think it was in 2010-ish, somewhere around there. I think that was a big renovation of the building. They added on a little front portion of the dining room, back portion where the smoker is now. Yeah, Karen, Mike, great people. Mike's no longer with us, but I think they built a lot of history, but ultimately the restaurant will take a toll on you. And Karen was obviously really, really tired whenever we come along to buy that building. So yeah, it changed hands to us. Perfect timing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that experience. As you indicated, I've been out there with my friend from Master Blend and Barbecue Bros and the Smoke Sheet, all those guys. But tell the people who don't know about it, what is somebody going to experience when they come to John G's on a Barbecue Saturday?
Yeah. So if they come from Charlotte, they're going to take a ride of about 45 minutes, basically in the middle of nowhere, straight down Highway 74, headed towards Wilmington. Peachland's a little town of about 430 people, maybe 429 now. I don't know. There's just not anything else here. A post office, just normal people.
No stoplights.
No stoplights. Yeah, not even a stoplight. Not even in downtown Peachland, where we're at right now. But yeah. Man, what else to say about it? It's
something different. So it kind of started, to me anyway, when it was COVID and it was phase 1 and phase 2. People were wanting to get out of the city, and so that's really where it started. They wanted to get outside. That's where we could all be together without being together, and so that sort of started that tailgate line. People would come out and just kind of get to know each other. And then kind of as the years continued on and COVID lessened, that luckily grew and people learned to love it as something different than just a meal. So it just became more than barbecue.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it kind of, as you indicated there, it is really like a big tailgate party line. People line up for hours before the business even opens. They hang out. You guys provide some beers for them, and they hang around and they talk and they discuss. And then once they get into the business, they step up to the service line. They've had a chance to look at the menu for a while. They place their order. They're served out, and they're out into the back wherever they want to go and sit down and eat, whether it's inside or outside. Really super experience. But when you look at that tailgate line, that, hey, I got there at 7:00 and it was early in the morning. And by the time I get to be about 8:30 or 9:00, that early morning breakfast is worn off. And hey, you guys got that taken care of. Tell me about how the kolaches got started in there and as part of your morning routine.
Yeah, so kolaches stem, obviously from Texas as well. There's a place we always used to go to called the Kolache Factory. It's more like a fast food of kolaches. You got Check Stop and a few other well-known places in Texas, but simply put, I mean, it's a house-made pastry, yeast roll, without like just going into a ton of detail. But then we'll stuff it. We've got bacon popper, we've got chicken bacon ranch. We put our sausage in some, and then there's also the sweet side of things that we'll do like peach, apple, strawberry. We've even got a cookies and cream one. So yeah, like you said, man, just breaking up. Okay, here's a little bit of breakfast. Y'all are here anyways. Here's some breakfast. Not something you're normally accustomed to in North Carolina.
For sure. And that helps utilize our food trailer too. So they usually, if it's not raining, are served from our food trailer. And we start serving them about 9:30 every Saturday morning. And there are some people that they just drive up for kolaches. They're not really there waiting on the food for lunch, but they've realized we start selling some breakfast pastries at 9:30, and they'll show up just to get the kolaches. So
yeah, so let me make sure I get that correct, because I feel like I saw some folks do that. Some law enforcement officers from around the community come rolling in at 9:30. Don't have to stand in line; just walk right up and get the kolaches.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Might be a small line for kolaches, but nothing like the barbecue line.
We were just talking the other day. It's finally feels like it's starting to take off. It's like time to up our number again. We're selling them all pretty quick at this point. So yeah, we'll definitely be adding to that and hopefully grow that.
Yeah. So folks come and they spend the day. What do you want people to remember about their visit to John G's?
Garren and I talk a lot about this, and I kind of addressed it a little earlier about the experience, but Garren and I have met people in Texas and barbecue lines that we still talk to today. So we really formed a, lifelong, hopefully, friendship with people. And that I see that every Saturday, because typically it's me out in the line doing protein orders. And, I'll say, are y'all all together? And they're like, no, but we kind of are now, so just talk to all of us. It's fine. Like, we're all friends now. And they'll get each other's phone numbers, and they'll say, we're going to meet back up next month. We've got a group of guys that comes out once a month. They have it on their calendar for the whole year. And that feeling of more than food is what I want. I think both of us want people to remember, because that's going to create, that experience creates them to tell somebody else, and then they're going to tell somebody else, and hopefully they'll come out and have that same experience. And so it just kind of lives on that way.
Yeah, and definitely I made a similar connection with the Barbecue Bros and the Smoke Sheet. So I can definitely appreciate how that goes. And that's really kind of a differentiator for you guys. Let me step on in now into sort of the barbecue jewels, as we're kind of short on time. But what do you enjoy most about operating that business and being a pit master?
Oh man, what is it? Sorry.
People.
Yeah, obviously the people. I mean, it's all about the people, like Kelly was alluding to. I mean, forming those relationships. We've had so many people just thank us for the experience that they had, and I'm like, we owe that to y'all.
Yeah.
Like, y'all made that happen. Y'all make this happen. I mean, I don't know. Guys just talk about that all the time. Coming back, like, I met this guy. We did this. I mean, I love hearing that. I mean, that goes so far beyond food.
Yeah, and they're always so tickled to meet Garren, and he's so humble that he would never say that, but they really are. And we're just normal people taking out trash too. So, but also we get to raise money.
I was going to say, that's rolling in the kind of Jubilee thing. I mean, just being able to have a platform that we can put these events together, raise money for the community. Man, that's huge. Like, I just can't describe that. I mean, it's crazy just seeing the pictures of these fundraisers, grocery carts full from the front of a food line to the back, like, for charity. I mean, just based around barbecue.
Yeah, we get to help facilitate that. And, our customers are so amazing that they trust us enough to give us money to give to these charity events, and that we can give back to the community that we're in. Anson County is a pretty high poverty county in North Carolina. And so just to be able to give back to that community, and it doesn't have to be in the biggest way. But we're proud to give back what we can.
Yeah, so I want to take just a moment and talk about that Texas spotlight you guys have gotten from Daniel Vaughn and the barbecue snob and Texas Monthly. He's kind of put a spotlight on you guys. Tell me about that experience. What was involved and how did that affect your business?
It was one of the biggest days highlights of this whole thing. I guess was it 2020 involved?
It's either 20 or 21. He's been twice,
Yeah, he's
but
been twice now, but the first time he rolled up, it's all I eat, sleep, and breathe. I mean, it's so he walked up and I'm like, "Hey, Daniel Vaughn." He's like, "How'd you know?" And I'm like, seriously, man, like, this is incredible that you're even here, and I don't know. I might have shed a little happy tear at the end of that day. Then when the article came out, maybe a couple more. But it was huge, man. I mean, I respect what he does. For him to acknowledge our food and justify us for whatever way, I mean, it was huge. Still would like to hit a few other magazines, but that one was top of the list, I think. Just everything I've read and saw up to that point.
Yeah, and do you feel like it
Yeah.
helped the traffic of the business and did it bring further people from further away?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the Texas transplants, it helped justify us. Texas is very proud of their barbecue. I was
Yeah.
putting it lightly, but just to have that little extra, like, hey, this is legit. Go check it out. That drives that, and yeah, it totally just justified us for transplants.
Cool, cool. So, you guys have been on this journey here for, going on more than a decade or so when you get into the backyard times. What do you feel like's the
Mm.
biggest lesson that you've learned along the way?
Ooh.
um, I think, we hear a lot about one day a week, one day a week, one day a week. And
Mhm.
we have really tried to stay true to who we are. And it's not one day a week, it's one day a week to the public, but there's so much more involved in this business that people don't see. And we have a young child, we have a child on the way. And so we always really took a lot of pride in saying, like, this is our business model. This is how we chose to do things. This is what's working for us. And, not really get greedy necessarily. And
Mhm.
so just staying true to who you are. Garen's pretty hard headed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, just don't give up, man. There was so many times when we were cooking in parking lots with a TFE, like it was grueling. I mean, just to have the determination, the stubbornness, if you will, like just don't give up. If you want it, go get it. I mean, it's
And do it your way.
simple as that. Yeah, do it your way. Saturday only kind of stem because I used to work Monday through Friday.
Mhm.
Then those Monday through Fridays kind of turn into catering and charity
Food
work and all
truck
that
and
kind
all
of
that.
food truck on Wednesdays. Yeah, I mean, so just go there and get it, make it yours. Give it all you got.
Sure. Okay, cool. So, when you're looking for advice on doing things better or differently, where do you turn when you're looking for that advice?
Man, I think kind of going back to the next question, like we've kind of paved our own way, but there's
Uh-huh.
some people in the barbecue world like I'll bounce stuff off of. I mean, I was talking to Dylan Cook this morning from Fort Grove, Andy Fox, Foxfire. There's definitely a few tight friends. City Limits, Robbie.
Mhm.
A lot of those guys I'll just bounce stuff off, vent to. But I mean, they're kind of all out there doing their own thing too. So it's a um, collaborative take on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and Kelly kind of alluded to this before. I know that you guys probably get around a little bit and have some barbecue. You mentioned some Texas barbecue lines, so I'm going to get those secrets from you. Where is your favorite barbecue restaurant, and why is that your favorite?
Yeah, we honestly, we can't just say one,
Uh
but
huh.
man, if I could make the ultimate plate, there's just so many places involved. I mean, brisket from this place, carrot souffle from that place. I mean, it's
Well,
just
let's hear
like,
it.
oh goodness
So
gracious.
I'll just
If you,
start. I love the chicken at Snow's. That is like the best freaking chicken you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah.
yeah,
Garen said carrot souffle.
carrot souffle from Tejas. Last, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, we were at Houston Barbecue Festival. I went up there and brought back a whole half pan. What
The
else?
tortillas at Valentina's with their brisket and their guac. Oh my gosh, so good.
Yeah,
Uh,
man, you just can't go without mentioning Franklin
yeah.
and all this truth.
So many great places.
Yeah,
it's hard to. I can find something that's like my favorite thing at every single place.
Yeah. So what do you feel like those guys have that maybe we are missing here in the Carolinas?
Man, I'd say just like a culture.
It's a different culture,
barbecue centric culture. It just hasn't got watered down yet. It's just every new place that pops up is just doing something really good if they are able to stick around. So yeah, just doing it the real old fashioned good, focus on quality experience.
Yeah, and that's not to say North Carolina isn't.
Right.
There are some really amazing North Carolina barbecue spots too that we love as well, and they're working really hard to keep that history of North Carolina barbecue, and still welcoming new people like us. So
definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, like to serve barbecue in a restaurant, like it helps to be an actual barbecue restaurant. Whenever I was out here redoing this building, so many people are like, "Are you gonna actually cook barbecue here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're a barbecue restaurant."
Yeah.
I mean, that's so simple to say, but yeah, there's just so many places you can go and get barbecue that is not a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned, how folks are starting to evolve around the Carolinas and keep their tradition, but also doing something new. And your buddies at Lawrence are definitely doing that kind of thing. You mentioned Dylan at Fort Grove and City Limits. Who else do you feel like is, holding on to that Carolina barbecue tradition, but also kind of pushing the envelope on something new?
Oh, I had me until you said pushing the envelope.
I know.
I was going towards Skylight.
Yeah, like we love Skylight.
That's like the quintessential North Carolina plate to me.
Sure.
But Jake comes to mind, man. He is pushing the envelope. He's taking that chefy background. I always joke with him about his tweezers, but with his microgreens. But I don't know, man. He is definitely pushing the envelope. But at the same time, I mean, he's cooking all wood, doing a bunch of the same stuff that we are too. But man, he is Mr. Flavor.
They're working his team. His team is like a lot like our team. Like we're very small, we're very family oriented. We have children about the same age. It's just we find a lot of connection with one another. And so that grueling work week in and week out, there's just so many good things to say about them. And there's so many other places, that are pushing the envelope in North Carolina too. But we're happy to be in the middle of it. So
yeah.
Yeah, well, that looks like a pretty good place to wrap up. Really appreciate y'all's time. You guys have been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Be sure to visit us online at lowslowbbqshow.com. That's where you'll find the blog, and you can hear other podcast episodes featuring our Carolina's great pit masters. If you like what you hear on the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, please follow us and subscribe in your favorite podcast stream. Special thanks to Garren and Kelly Kirkman from John G's Barbecue. Kelly, guys, congratulations on the upcoming baby. Best wishes there.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know your hands are going to get even full. You think they're full now? Add another baby.
Yeah.
Thanks as well. Yeah, thanks as well to our producer Andrew Moose and the whole team at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Most especially, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.